So, the being profile, what is it? People ask me, tell me more about the being profile. Well, the first question I ask them is, what is being? What is being a human being? And I find a lot of people find that quite difficult to articulate. Some people say, being happy, things like that. A way of being is a combination of different things.
Things like authenticity, responsibility, commitment, and whether your anxiety or your fear gets in the way of your access to being authentic or being responsible or being committed.
What the being profile does is it uncovers the very essence of who you are as an individual, the different ways of being that you have. And what I mean by different ways of being, today you may be powerful, tomorrow you may not be feeling so powerful. Today you may be being responsible about your life, tomorrow you may be being a victim. So what the being profile does, it distinguishes what are the various ways of being that you are on a day-to-day basis, and how those different ways of being impact the results that you produce.
For every result you have in your life, there is a way of being that goes with it. So there's a way of being that you are now. There's a way of being that is associated with what you want out of life.
Ways of being was not something particularly new to me. But as a coach, it was really, really difficult to be able to articulate and uncover people's ways of being in a coaching session. It was really like, how do I uncover those things? So coming across the being profile, I was like, wow, I can't believe it. Someone's actually gone to the trouble of putting together a profiling tool that actually uncover people's ways of being. So suddenly I had my hands on the controls of the ship that is my coaching business.
While it is a psychometric tool, what it does is it measures who you are being. And it is an amazing tool because it is as unique to every individual as there are 7 billion people on the planet.
People often ask me, how did we conduct the research which resulted in us developing being profile? We made this conscious decision to leverage this branch of metaphysics and philosophy named ontology, the study of being, existence, reality, what is real and what is not. We came up with this ontological model, a holistic view of the qualities of human beings in the scope of performance, effectiveness, and leadership.
I sometimes compare the being profile to doing a blood test but without the needle. You get your results back from the blood test and you can then distinguish different areas that you may need to address from a health perspective. We do the same thing with the being profile, except what we're looking at is you and your performance.
The being profile is a two-phase process. The first part involves going online and doing a questionnaire. There's about 244 questions. And some of these questions can be confronting. And then after you've done that, we then arrange to do a 2-hour debrief where we go through the interpretation of the profile and how it specifically relates to you and your ways of being.
One of the first things that happens in that process is that you start to become aware in that process of some ways of being that you weren't even aware existed in the first place. So we're going to have conversations like how responsible you may be, but how authentic you may be, how reliable you may be in different situations.
The being profile provides such a vital framework to work with as a coaching tool. So the information really helps hone in on areas that are not working much more quickly than you can without a tool like this, because you're often relying on people having an awareness of something that they want to go to work on. And often the thing that they really need to go to work on is something they're completely unaware of.
Once we've gone through the being profile and they can see where they've got, healthy relationship here and they're not so healthy there, then there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to step up and shift and grow. Because if they look at what it is that they want to achieve for their life, and then they can see what it is that's stopping them.
The biggest difference having the being profile debrief under your belt. As a coach, the biggest difference is that we get to the heart of the matter much more quickly. And the being profile, because of the way it looks at these 29 ways of being, it's very specific. We can go in and coach specifically around these specific ways of being that may not be working as well as they could be. And therefore, we are able to increase and impact on your effectiveness, your awareness, which is ultimately translates into performance and the results you want to cause in the world.
So what's it like to actually go through a being profile debrief? For me personally, I found it a little bit challenging. I really found it interesting. And most importantly for me it was surprising. There were things that the being profile uncovered that I just had not anticipated. You will find, and I say this to people, you will find things that you like, some things that you don't like, but above all, you're going to be intrigued and you're absolutely going to have some powerful insights when you come out the other side.
The one example that I would list as my all-time favorite result from working with the being profile was my own profile. First time I saw those results, I can't say that I loved them. In fact, I was questioning, are these really valid? That's not really an accurate picture of me, is it? And I went through my own results with a coach and I realized that the results were not inaccurate at all. It was a gap that I wasn't seeing. It was an area of my life that was making a massive difference, not in a good way. So when I had these results, this data in front of me showing me how I was being in the world, I was able to ask powerful questions to help me create shift in my own life with the being profile. I know that there's always more to learn, but finding the tool that's going to help me really hone in on the gaps. When you've covered so much work in your own life, it's harder to see the gaps, and I find a tool like the being profile helps me find the gaps.
Imagine a small business and the team members of the business have conversations with the business owner, and they come back frustrated, they're not happy, things are not going their way, and then they go to the general manager and talk about their problems, which the general manager is trying to help them with, trying to buffer all this stress and frustrations. So at some point the general manager came to me looking for help. So, I asked him to do the being profile and he did. And as we reviewed the being profile, obviously this topic came up again. And the being profile really helped by identifying how we can simplify it, how he can be and change his way of being to actually address these issues with the business owner and to really get to the core of the issues and be authentic about it.
Yeah, look, I think that there's a common misconception that we have to identify with what we're being told we are. And the being profile allows conversations to stem around those identities and really delving deep into, is this my identity and does it need to be my identity? And if it is my identity, is it serving me in being this way?
I've done the DISC and the Myers-Briggs and a whole lot of different behavioural tools. I feel like I've been there, done that with all of them, but I have never worked with anything that measures love and compassion. And what the hell does the world need right now? Love and compassion. We want leaders who are heart-centered and know how to work with love, compassion, forgiveness. We've got great examples in the world right now of leaders who are not doing this and leaders who are doing it. And we know what it is as human beings that we want. And the being profile gets to the heart of that. It's quite profound for me, quite profound.